I hate we use this word, but toxic in this house that it's messing up the energy with everybody else, the wife, the kids, everybody else in this house because of what she brought. Because at this point, I'm going to go out on a limb is you can't tell her shit. She's going to do what the she wants to do, right? There's a reason she has 2 kids at 14 because she's going to do what she wants to do. And I can't have anybody who's going to do that in my house. What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense, your favorite barbershop style podcast. I'm Tavares Ferguson, aka Ferg. Join my co-host Buff and Razi. What it do, fellas?
I thoroughly enjoyed the Olympics this year. It had some very memorable moments, but there was also some ugly. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the woman's name correctly, but Imani Khalif. But anyway, she's a boxer, and it was speculated that she was a man. Come to find out, she was born a woman, is a woman, has always identified as a woman, but that didn't stop the Elon Musk and the conservative right wing of the world from subjecting her to all type of bullying, to where she has now filed a lawsuit to where she's suing Elon Musk, someone else that's prominent. I forgot who the other person was. And others may be named. Like, I saw she may include Trump.
It was
Twitter.
It was a girl from Harry Potter. What's her name?
Oh, yeah.
J.K. Rowling. That's what it was.
J.K.
Yeah.
That's who it was. Yeah. And like,
who's just an evil person?
Even when it was pointed out. Yeah, I didn't,
books.
I was defending her at first. I was like, it's nothing wrong with her thinking that
J.K. Rowling's just bad.
A woman is a woman, but I see now that she has gone down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, she is anti-LGBTQ. Like, there's one thing to defend your position of a woman as a woman and respect the asterisk. We even say respect the asterisk. She is anti-LGBTQ. Yeah. That's a different thing.
So I hope she gets her money for this. But what's crazy is even when it was pointed out that, hey guys, it's not a trend. This is not what you think. This is not a man carrying himself as a woman. This is actually a woman. Like, people were still doubling down on it. So I can't imagine what she was going through, especially when you're at the height of your career and going through a huge moment like that. She wound up winning the gold medal. So again, I hope I'm not pronouncing your name incorrectly, but I hope you get paid, Miss Khalif. I want to ask you two brothers. I guess I don't want to turn into a question because I'm known for doing that at the top of the show. But the Montana Supreme Court ruled that minors don't have to get the permission of their parents to get an abortion. Y'all agree with that? They cited that their state constitution says that you have a right to your procreative autonomy and that you don't have to inform anybody about what you do with it.
There's no age limit whatsoever. Like, when you say minor, a lot of times when they say minor, it's like, hey, age of consent is 16. So, or, hey, you can make medical decisions at 12 or 13.
Well, I guess, however, whenever you're old enough to get pregnant, if you decide to get an abortion, because it didn't name an age, you don't have to let your parents know. Y'all with that?
Oh,
that's a hard one.
I got mixed emotions real fast.
Yeah.
For one, because I've heard that some of you guys might have been sexually active as teenagers. So I just think about.
I saw that group. I'm with you, Ferg. I saw that group. No, Razi, you were one of them.
You were definitely one of them.
Yeah, you were one of them.
You're definitely one of them.
No,
yeah.
Average sexual partner is 8. I'm like right there, 7, 8.
Okay. I just think about knowing that some of you guys were sexually active in high school and things like that. Do you think it would have been appropriate to tell your parents if you would have got somebody pregnant? I don't, would that how that works. But at the, maybe it's just me being immature, but more so, what if the parent is pro-life? Mm-hmm. And so they take that opportunity away from the child simply because they're pro-life. So you have a 15-year-old daughter, 16-year-old daughter who's just like, I made a mistake. I want to move on with the rest of my life. I'm going to make better decisions. And, you have one of these pro-life Trumpers who's like, no, you're going to have this baby, and spiral effect, like everything that goes with that. So now that I think about it, I don't know if it's automatic that you should have to have an adult, because you have a lot of the country who's pro-life, and it will change the trajectory of certain people's lives. Yes, they made a mistake, but they're also minors and they're kids, right? So just because I feel like the end result is bigger than that moment, I'm with Montana. I don't think I've ever said that in my life. Just for that fact that, just because a parent might be able to block an abortion that otherwise would have changed that kid's life, so.
I guess I'll say this. I'm against it in the sense that I feel like as a parent, you're responsible for your child 100% until they become the age of 18. You're responsible for them. So if they were to get some type of injury, the first thing they're going to do is come to the parent. How did this happen? Where were you? To make sure you wasn't neglecting them. I think that if, depending on how much money, I don't know how much abortions are running these days, but I think most of the parents are going to find out anyway, because unless the minor has the money to get the procedure done, parents they're gonna have to come to the parent, aren't they? Or a bunch of friends and collect some money.
No, it could be an aunt. It could be somebody that's more open to understand and that they feel more comfortable going to talk to, right? Versus the parent. So to Ferg's point, I think I agree. It's that individual's choice, right? And between them and their medical provider, and I get it because they're so young, and it's a dumb choice, but at the same time, it's their choice, right? And I think that's really what it kind of comes down to, is it's up to them. And parents who's saying, I should be involved and I should have a say, well, your child should be more comfortable coming and talk to you about it then. So if that child's uncomfortable about coming to you, you need to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, what's going on?
So it's a separate state, but I do think it sends mixed messages when you have Michigan for the first time holding the parents accountable for their son shooting up a high school and sentencing them to prison. And on one hand saying, you're responsible for what your child does. But then on the other hand, again, it is a different state, but Montana saying, parent, you have no right to what this child does.
I don't think it's a simple answer. I think we have to sit down and have an intelligent conversation, because I just think about, as the world becomes more divided and people are super left or super right, it's, if your whole family is just right-wing pro-choice and you're maybe a little more liberal, or maybe you're just dumb and you're a 16-year-old, right? And you want to go to college, you want to make this smart decisions, you want to give yourself the best chance to succeed. Not saying that you can't have a kid young and still succeed, but you should have that right, because at the same time, a parent can't force a child to get an abortion either, right? The parent is, hey, you're going to have an abortion. You trying to go to college. I had a kid at a young age. You're not going to do the same thing. And it's like, no, I'm not. If that's the kid's choice, then the other one should be the kid's choice. So
I definitely agree. It's not an easy answer, man. The only other thing I mentioned Michigan. I just want to point out that there is a judge in Detroit that has been excused and been forced to attend some training because he had a classroom of students that visited his courtroom on a field trip. And one of the young ladies fell asleep and dozed off. So he got the bright idea of putting her in an orange suit and handcuffs to send a message that, hey, this is something serious and you need to pay attention. And the mom was like, WTF. So the head, just like the Supreme Court has a chief justice, the head judge has forced him to go to some type of, it's not sensitivity training, but it's something like that type of training for a couple of weeks. He's been removed from the bench from a couple of weeks. So, once again, and I don't know the race of the girl, but looking at the name, I forgot the name, but it was something like Tawana. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it was a little black girl.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got though, man. That's all I got.
You mentioned the Olympics, so nothing about Jordan Childs, Sha'Carri and her situation where,
she couldn't get in.
Couldn't get in,
I'm getting that picture. I'm getting that canvas portrait of Sha'Carri looking to her right on that 4x100. I'm definitely getting a picture of that. Unfortunate for Jordan Childs. But yeah, man.
But I think she gets to keep it now. I think they finally, I was reading something, I got to look back up, but I think she gets to keep her medal.
I know the U.S. team submitted video evidence of that
she got it in with them.
Yeah, they got the whatever they were doing.
They were basically challenging.
Yeah, they challenged. That's what it is. They challenged it within the minute, and so they showed that.
Shout out to conservative white media that was rooting against Jordan Childs and rooting for the other young lady from the different country. I forget what country it was, but was rooting against Jordan Childs, your own country, because she's a girl of color. So shout out to y'all. We see y'all. Y'all don't give a damn about America unless it's white.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Noah.
Yeah, because if they get in those enclaves, then crime's going to increase. That's what JD Vance said. Like Gangs of New York. He said if you haven't seen Gangs of New York, you should know what happens when people get together in these enclaves and crime increases and everything else. JD Vance is an idiot. I'll just throw it out there. Yeah,
potentially a future vice president. Noah Lyles running the 200, getting bronze with COVID. Mm-hmm. And then, but there's a whole lot of, conversation around that.
His 100 finished too.
That was
incredible.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
Even sub 10 seconds for the entire group, like crazy.
And the brother that came from behind and won the 400.
Dog, that as a
that's the number one moment right there.
Dog, I felt every stride he had.
you can see it in his face, right?
Yeah. So if you ever hear Jay talk about when I ran track years ago, and I was completely out of it when we were at the state meet, it reminded me of that moment where he was just out of it. They're like, yeah, this nigga sucks. Like it's over. And it's just like, uh-oh. I mean, there was no form. There was nothing. It was just, and I think he was talking about, I might be even mentioned it when he appeared on the show, was talking about that kick. Like it was just pure drive and like, I got to do it. And I was sitting there. I've never seen anybody come back like that.
The announcers had given up on her. Like Sonya Richards-Ross was like, he's falling behind. He's out of it. And then he just, man, that was incredible. That was incredible, man.
Good Olympics. The U.S. basketball team, men's basketball team, and women's basketball team.
Yep.
Kudos. It just shows that
thank God the women won.
Yeah.
They won by 1 point. We were 1 point away from going through 4 years of hearing why they should have had Caitlin Clark on there.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, women's basketball. Thank you so much.
Hey. Asia Wilson, like they were balling. But it was, it shows that gap is closing internationally. And as Americans, we're so arrogant that we just assume, or we can't understand, comprehend, whatever you want to call it, that, hey, there's people balling all over the world. Like balling. And especially on the women's side, so many of those players play in WNBA. And then same with men, there's a lot of NBA players. And kind of to Noah Lyles' defense, when he talked about the U.S. team saying they're like the world champs before the Olympics, it's like, there's basketball all over the world. So until they win the Olympics, they're not necessarily world champs. you're the U.S. champs, but you're not the world champs. And so now they're officially the world champs, and they were, petty about it too, which I'm all for. It's like, hey, are we the world champs now? But yeah, they were. Once again, I feel like they were rooting against the U.S. team again. People wanting them to lose because they wanted LeBron to fail. They wanted the U.S. team to fail. It was hilarious.
Yeah. One thing that is not worldwide, and that's breakdancing. So
Ray Gun,
boy.
that was I don't even know what to call that. Like, it was.
What did you see when she was like shrimping? Like she
oh yeah,
like
shrimping.
Like,
she the kangaroo, the wallaby. Like, she did so many things. It was just like, it was so bad. She was a spectacle to see. I had mixed emotions about breakdancing. I love the fact that it has become international. And I hate using this term cultural appropriation, but it was on super display when it's just like, this is hip hop. And you had, I want to say, the young lady from Lithuania. Mm-hmm. She had like the do-rag on or something like that. It's just like,
yep.
Yeah. It's like, are you serious? It was blackface without the blackface for some of these people. It's just like, I'm surprised they didn't have a grill. Some of these people look like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why I was waiting on Will Ferrell to come out. The thing was, I was excited. I actually was happy that they were having it in there. And people talk about breakdancing is not an art, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, they have dance. They have ribbon, like gymnastics with the ribbon, like, with
rhythmic gymnastics.
Yeah. So it's like dancing has always been a part of it. At one point, I think they had ballroom dancing as an Olympic sport. So like dancing's always been a part of the Olympics. And so to bring a new art form or newer art form in made sense. It's just like Ferg says, instead of them leaning into the art and of actual hip hop, they put on blackface because that's what they think it is. And so I think I'm glad they pulled it back out, and maybe they can try it again in a few years. But I was just looking at like the judges stand. I was looking at like it didn't feel hip hop. Like if you are gonna have a breakdancing competition, shouldn't you have like some like true breakdancing? Turbo and Ozone should have been there, like judging this. This is the first time it's huge like that. They should have had. Well, which one? One of them's dead. I can't remember which one. I think Turbo is still alive. Ozone's dead. But either way, like they should have been there. Like we should have had some people that are known for breakdancing as judges, and they're like really kind of playing up the history of it. And they didn't do any of that. And so the Olympic Committee just really dropped the ball on that one, man.
Yeah, that was a shame. I mean, the men did a lot better. But it still was like cringe-worthy for some of these outfits and costumes, essentially. Even going back to Ray Gun, like her, the fitted cap and all this stuff. And it's just like, what are we doing? Like the tracksuit and all this stuff tucked in, looking like it was just so bad. So bad. But continue, Razi. What else you got for us?
Well, first of all, I want to start off shouting out Inspire You for the second annual Sisters for Life Health and Wellness Expo. It was awesome. I had a really good time hosting the panel. So the panelists that I did the women bossing up in a man's world. So I hosted that panel. So it was a pretty cool, great conversation, just talking about how, women have to navigate and boss up when guys are holding them down, when they have some people that are allies, they don't know if they are allies or not, those types of things. So it was just a really good conversation. But all the panels were great. The booths, the vendors area was great. I mean, they had a full-on breakout session on autism awareness, which was super cool. It was like 4-hour block on that. It was great. So next year, all the listeners out there, if you guys get a chance, make sure you come out to it. I'll be back down there again. Hopefully, if they'll have me. Hopefully, I didn't go too far off the rails and say anything crazy, because y'all know I do like to put my foot in my mouth. So, but Bam,
there's a chance.
Yeah, Bam she didn't call me out. She said I did a good job. So I'm confident that it went well. So. But man, I just want to shout them out though. It was a great time. It was a really great event. So y'all make sure y'all come out next year to the 3rd annual. Other than that, just a couple of Netflix updates. So Ghostbusters is getting their own show. So I saw that. That's pretty dope.
A spinoff from the movie.
Yeah, from the latest movie. So, and the latest movie was pretty good. The kids watched it last weekend. Finally, we got around to watching it, and it's really good. I was surprised at that one. And then they renewed Supercell because there was like a huge outbreak. So if you haven't watched Supercell, it's like X-Men and Heroes put together, but it's in Britain, so you get a little bit of Top Boy type feel to it. So if you haven't watched Top Boy, go watch Top Boy too. But Supercell is gonna get renewed, so excited about that one. And then we had a big fail in the movie theaters for the video gamers out there. Borderlands is a really good franchise. I think they've gotten or had 3 versions so far, so they're on Borderlands 3. They're making Borderlands 4. They made a movie about the IP, and it sucked. Nobody went and saw it. They did a $110 million budget without advertising. They made $8 million opening weekend globally. And so, and they probably aren't making much more after that. I think the people who wanted to see it saw it, and reviews are horrible. So I doubt any more people are going to see it. So you might get a couple little stragglers here and there. But it's going to be probably the biggest flop of the year. And that's saying something, because we've had some flops this year. So shout out to, unfortunately, Borderlands for kind of winning the title of biggest flop. But people need to start listening to, like, making movies for the people that they're made for, instead of trying to take an IP and completely making it something different to try to make it broader appeal or something like that. People who play Borderlands want an R-rated shooter, cursing, that type of thing, and then you make it PG. It just, the audience is very different for that. So they didn't understand what made Borderlands actually fun and great. So I didn't go see it because of that, and I'm sure most people who were interested in it. But $110 million is probably way too much for Borderlands anyway, because it's a video game franchise that's not even like top tier that everybody knows about. So now, if they made a Call of Duty type movie, granted, you can give it $110 million, because it probably would be pretty dope. But you're not going to get that from just some random Borderlands or something like that. I'd even go watch the Grand Theft Auto movie if they made one of those. That would be dope. But no, definitely not Borderlands. So that's all I got, man. That's all I got.
Alrighty. I want to start by apologizing to you guys. But if you looked up, like, I never admit that I'm wrong if I don't apologize.
I was just trying to see what for.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh,
I knew it was going to be good, but I had my doubts that it was going to be the change that the MCU needed. I was wrong. If they mess up after this, they want to. It's on purpose. At this point, it's like you got to reset. Like you gotta, you're a born again virgin. Like you are made fun of it. Ryan Reynolds, that man he can't miss right now. Like, it's just, to know the flops that he's had. I don't know who had a better career, Ryan Reynolds or Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
A better second half, right? Like, you think about, Robert Downey Jr.'s, he was full at one point, and then you look at Ryan Reynolds with the flops that he had with Green Lantern, and even the first time he played Deadpool. I get everything you want and more. Pure comedy. Kept you guessing. I'm assuming the Captain America / Human Torch scene is what you guys were talking about that threw you guys for a loop.
Mm-hmm. There's a few of them.
It was great.
It was
yeah. But I remember, I know y'all would say like it threw you. It was like, oh shit, Cap's back. He's about to say it. Flame on. Like, God dang. Like, yeah, it was great. Gave you everything you wanted. So I can't be disappointed. I'm telling you where I am disappointed.
What's that? Gambit?
Black Clover. Oh yeah, no. Gambit was the downfall of the. I just was waiting him to kill him like 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
And I hope they go back.
I wish he would have said, "My name is JF" at least one time.
I want them to go back to the original Gambit that they had in what
Wolverine. Yeah.
He did a good job. That's Remy LeBeau.
Yeah, or just somebody like the problem was
he was a cartoon.
He was a cartoon. He didn't like Gambit's supposed to be slim and kind of tall, and he's too muscular for it. The you couldn't understand him. Like I understand Cajun people sound like that, right? Like we're from Mobile, we go to New Orleans, we see people that actually speak Cajun and have that kind of really heavy. You don't need that though. Anybody else like watching the cartoons and stuff like that, you can still understand Gambit. And that's what they need. They need to have the kind of Louisiana, New Orleans accent, but at the same time, they need to bring that Cajun back a little bit. So we see, hell, we can understand Ray in what's the Disney movie? He was the lightning bug, Princess Frog.
Princess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like we can understand Ray. So like, why can't we understand Gambit? We should be able to understand Gambit.
I'm not even gonna go with his accent. That wig was just so Tyler Perry that I was just over it. I just couldn't get past. He just looked so out of place.
Yeah, and I hear they're trying to do a like they want a Blade Swan song now, kind of like that to close out. I don't think so. We don't need that.
No. He's old.
Wesley Snipes is old. Yeah, exactly. He's
old.
way
He's
too old.
He's old. He's old.
He cannot carry. I don't need that now. Would it be cool for him to cameo in the new Blade movie with Marshall Ali?
Absolutely.
That would be dope.
Absolutely.
I want to see that. You know, maybe he plays Whistler, or he plays the older character that's like, hey, you know.
I mean, we just saw
down.
the MC. There's an MCU. There's a whole. He can play Blade in just his universe, and the new Blade is in the universe. You know, whatever universe that the rest of the MCU is going to place him.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, they need to kill the new Gambit. As long as they find a way to kill him off, I'm okay. What I was saying was Black Clover, which I know it's an anime variant on Netflix. Definitely one of my top 10 anime I've ever watched. Definitely love it. And it just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it was going all the way on. Imagine one of the best fights you've ever seen. And it's like round 6. They just like, all right, to be continued. It just stopped. And so I don't know if they're coming back with another season. I don't know what's going on, but I'm pissed off. And I knew it wasn't going to end. And I'm like, well, maybe it'll just let me down. Maybe it'll kind of do the Game of Thrones thing and kind of fall off. And I'm like, yeah, I'm over it. No. Everything I was waiting on and all the build up came to that, and it's like, yeah, ain't no more episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even like they kind of had light closure. Just it was. I don't know. So I'm disappointed.
Where did it stop? I'm trying to remember because I've read the manga too. So it's like
the Spade Kingdom when they started fighting the Spade Kingdom.
Okay, yeah,
and the last thing.
So he fought Yami, right? Like all that.
It's like 1 or 2 episodes. Fought Yami. They kidnapped everybody. The vice captain had just came back. He was also was learning some new techniques. Mm-hmm. And the end. Yeah. The end.
Yeah, the manga stops like a little bit after that. That's why they don't have any more. Right. They don't have anything else to make right now.
Byron is not listening to anything we're saying right now. He might be crocheting, but whatever it is, you can delete all this, whatever you need to do, Razi. But I've never been so disappointed in something just falling off. But I don't have much. Just for the kids going back to school, for the parents that get a house to themselves, whatever. It's that time of year. Be safe, kids. But let's go ahead and jump into it because we're definitely into the show, and we're into the show.
Cool. Bet. Who wants first, or do you want me to go get Sophie? Let me go get Sophie. Let me see where she's at. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Look who we have.
You got Sophie.
That's right.
Hello, Sophie.
Hello.
Alrighty. I heard your cough is gone?
No.
Yeah.
I was
Still, look. You look. Get you right there.
What?
Got you right there. Your little beverage you had earlier?
Yeah. My throat hurt after.
Alrighty. Do you have a good joke for us?
Yeah. Why was Cinderella so bad at soccer?
She lost a slipper?
She kept running away from the ball.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I try to think of something fast. Because
Yeah,
I give us time.
we know Sophie's not gonna give you
It would have been
time.
pretty good if people did.
Yeah, no, because I was going the shoe route too. You know.
And then I tricked you guys because I'm so good.
Yeah. Maybe if we'd
Alright.
have had 5 to 10 seconds to figure it out, we might have got it, but we'll never
I don't
know.
give you guys that amount of time anymore.
I know. You're like a sit down comedian.
Yeah.
It's like a ventriloquist.
I'm not a stand up.
Yes.
Yeah, you're tickling me.
All right.
All right.
Get up
Well,
out of here.
we will see you later. Bye bye.
Thank you for your time.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Let's see. She litty.
Right.
Has Razi given us a joke lately? I'm not saying that to ask you for
like
a joke.
month,
I was just
month
saying,
and a half ago.
I feel like I haven't heard a joke from you in a while. And
Yeah, when
I think
Sophie,
you did when she was flued out somewhere.
yeah, when she was out of town.
when she was on the Sophie World Tour. All right, who wants to go first?
I think I went first last week. Well,
Yeah,
last time.
you didn't go because I snuck that question in, so I think it's on you first.
Okay, hold on 1 sec. So I just sent the fellas a video about it's one of those posts where somebody's reading about another person's situation. Essentially, this young lady was in college. I think she was in her 3rd year in college, and she found out that her parents took out credit cards and loans in her name. And she said it was okay when they were paying the bills, right? Like, hey, it's okay. And then she got ready to move out, and her parents were like, nah, you don't move out. That's stupid and all that stuff. So she did a little further digging and found out that it wasn't just a couple of bills or anything. They had racked up $60,000 in debt, and they weren't going to pay it. They're like, we can't pay it. And so she was in a position where she couldn't afford a house. She couldn't get approved for anything. Everything was screwed up. And so she was trying to make do. And for some reason, she's like, well, since I can't move out and, be with my boyfriend and all this stuff, can he come stay with us? The parents like, absolutely not. You ain't changing the rules of our house. She got, she's like, this is stupid. She went to stay with her aunt. Her aunt put her on game and said, hey, let me show you something. This has happened. You're not the first person. This happened before, and this has screwed up people's lives. So she went to the police, filed a police report, and got her parents arrested for essentially stealing her identity and racking up debt. And she's saying, is she the asshole for reporting her parents? Is she the asshole for reporting her parents? And what would you do to her or to people who are in similar situations where family members feel like they are off limits for any potential consequences of their actions?
She's not told. She did the right thing. Had the parents come about it a different way. Like, yeah, we racked up the debt. Let's see what we can do to help put you in a position or to help pay, if not all, some like. And I always have to start my answers off with, that's if this post is true, because it's social media. But if the post is true, the parents didn't show any type of remorse, eagerness to anything to try to help at all. So I think she did what she had to do, and that's a lot of money.
That's her mama and them.
Yeah,
I know. I get that.
They raised her.
They did.
She don't owe. They don't owe her nothing.
Yeah, and
apparently they owe her $60,000.
$60,000, right? but it's one of it's a difference of, I put the lights in your name because we needed lights, and that was the only way we can get the lights on, type thing. And $60,000 in debt. Like, that is very, very different there. And so, again, there's always gray, right? There's always spectrums. There are times when parents just have to kind of do that. And I think at that point, she probably would have been an asshole. The parents probably also wouldn't have gotten arrested for, hey, I got a $600 power bill that's on my collections on my credit report, right? They wouldn't have got arrested for that. So that is very, very different than $60,000 in debt. That means they got a car, a couple of cars. They got it's a lot of stuff going on for them. They like Ferg said, that's identity theft at that point. And no, she's not the asshole for calling the police, because the thing is, she can't dispute it and get it off her credit report without a police report if she knows who it is. So that's the other part about it, is the credit report or the credit agency won't take it off her credit report unless she agrees to press charges. And so I think that's a little bit of probably why she had to do it. She probably tried to call and say, I'm disputing this. This isn't me. And they're like, hey, it's the same address. What's going on? And they literally ask you, are you willing to press charges? And if you say no, then they won't take it off and you're just stuck with the bill. And so that's the other part about it, is for it to get off, for those the debtors to pull it off of her report and put it back on the person, then she has to be able to press charges because she knows who did it. So no, she's not the asshole. She did the right thing. And to your question about what I would have done, I would have done the same damn thing. Like, my parents had have done that to me. It's, hey, I got to do what's right for me right now. Now, and especially since she went to them first. Right now, she would have been an asshole if she had not talked to them, not asked them what was going on, not asked them to fix it, and then went straight to the police. But she did the steps, right? What's going on?
Ask her to write up 60,000.
Well, they didn't, but again, it's your mom and them, right? And I hate to say it, but that is your mom and them. I'm not putting my mom in jail if she can fix it, right? Like, I'm gonna give her the opportunity to fix it. So yes, she would have been an asshole had she not gone to them first. But since she went to them first, and like Buff said, no remorse, no trying to fix it, anything like that, and then still trying to pop off and be mad when you get arrested. You stole my identity. You not paying them people. Them people want their money. I don't know what to tell you. I'm getting out of it. And so I don't think it's any different of your parent committed murder. My mama just murdered somebody and it had nothing to do with me. I might have to report her too. She just gonna murder an innocent person. Like, if my mom's a serial killer, I'm a snitch on her. There's a whole difference of, like, mom, you're a serial killer, and that they touched my baby, I'm going to kill them. Those are two different things. So this is I feel like this is the same thing. This is on the serial killer spectrum.
Do you think people feel insulated or protected because they're family and there's no consequences? Like, I just it's hard for me to think about, and maybe it's because of my moral standard, and sometimes the moral standards make life tougher than it has to be. I would feel bad running up $1,000 on somebody's debt. You know what I mean? Like, I would lose sleep. Especially my kid. Like, it's you were talking about the $600 bill and stuff like that. For a lot of people, that's still a lot of money. The average person doesn't have over $500 in their savings account. Mm-hmm. So $600 can make or break somebody in real life, right? And so only because it's a $600, it's not a big deal. Like, no, that's weeks of work, and I don't have expendable income or disposable income. This is going to set me back. Mm-hmm. And you're good now. You have no consequences to pay. All you got to do is you're going to use, well, I brought you into this world. $600 ain't nothing. I'm your mom, I'm your dad. And I'm your sister, I'm your brother. A lot of these small claims court things are because of family members not paying people back properly or something like that. At what point do you just say, you cut people off, or you can't hide behind you being the parent? Because that's that same adage, well, that's your mama, I don't care if she was a crackhead and robbed your house and all this stuff. She brought you in this world, but she's a crackhead and robbed me and my family. Like, at a certain point, thank you for birthing me, but how long am I indebted to you for that?
Right.
You made bad decisions that lead to bad situations for my life, and I have to pay for that. And I hate to be one of those ungrateful kids. Like, I didn't ask to be here, but they didn't ask for this situation. you know, you had to put the lights in somebody's name for whatever reason, that's an adult situation. Now, when a kid has to pay for your consequences, you know, that, I don't know. There has to be another way. Or have we gotten so used to saying, hey, this is how you do it? When you said putting the lights or something, it's such a, this is what we do mentality that nobody frowns on it anymore.
No, I think people still frown on it, but again, it's
we normalized it.
Well, it's not normalizing. It's we still got to live, right? Like, so you're saying I've messed my credit up, and so
you
this
messed your credit up.
Yeah, at this point, my kids won't have lights because I messed my credit up. Like those are hard. Like you said, those are adult decisions. Those are hard decisions that you got to make. And
I agree.
Like if I was in that situation, I'm sorry, but Haley gonna have a light bill in her name so that we still got lights. Like because hands down, that's what's gonna happen.
But you're probably gonna mess it up again because you make decisions that mess that up, right? Like so now it's gonna be in Sophie's name, and then it's gonna be in Ollie's name, and then it's gonna like, at what point do you like, hey, I make bad decisions, and my bad decisions are f***ing up my kids. And so guess what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to put the lights in their kids' names because they're starting off from a fucked up situation too, because we keep making fucked up situations.
Yeah.
Rather than, let me find a way to do this. There's programs that help with that. There's ways to manage your money. There's things that we can do. I'm not making an excuse. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but at a certain point we normalize, like when you say it, it's a running joke. Putting the phone, you know, in the phone or the lights in kids' names. It's a running joke in our community. And at what point is like, how do we figure out how to get past this versus the other option is to put the phone in the kid's name? Like,
I mean, I agree 100%. You should be fixing it. I'm not condoning them doing it. What I'm saying is when you got that choice to make, like if you've never been in that situation where you got to make a choice or not, you can't really, it's hard to speak to it. And what I'm saying is at that situation, that is very, very different than putting a car note in their name, right? You don't need a car note in their name. You don't need a house note in their name. Like that $60,000 worth of debt is a far cry from that. I was using that as kind of to separate and just say, hey, if you're doing that, that's very, very different. And that's, for me, I could probably give my parents a pass if they did that, right? Like that's the only thing they did. They put it in, even if it did go to collection and I got a $600 collection, I'm probably going to give my parents a pass. I'm going to be pissed, but I'm going to give them a pass versus, you know, you got $60,000 as debt. I'm calling the police. Like that's the difference that I'm saying. So, but no, you don't get a pass, like a 100% pass, like, oh, everything's fine and dandy. I'm like, hey, this $600, you spent $600 worth of school clothes and everything else. You didn't spend $60,000 on me, right? That's I feel like the difference. I don't owe you $60,000. I can probably owe you $600. Like, that I think is probably the biggest difference there. But it was funny as we talked about that. I thought about this social media post that I saw where they were talking about Black communities. We're probably one of the only communities that we give our wealth backwards. And so like when we make money or whatever, we got to go buy our parents a house, right? That generational wealth has to go backwards. And so now we can't pass anything down to our kids because we had to pass it back to our parents because that's the expectation. Whereas most communities, the parents do whatever they need to get that kid to the next level and then they'll move in with the kid, right? But what that does is now you don't need daycare. You don't need childcare because you got grandma, is at the house too. So they're the one that's watching the kids in the afternoons and everything like that. So they're still paying it forward. Parents are still paying it forward versus, I brought you into this world. I got you there. You a doctor now. So you should buy me a house. And I'm going to get my mama out of, the projects or out of this, and I'm going to get her a nice house or whatever. And that's, for some reason, that's an expectation that we've kind of started to set. And so I think this is kind of that same thing of I'm going to put all this debt on you and then you fix it when you go to college or whatever. You fix all that. And I'm not paying that. So call the cops on them.
Buff, you've been nodding and shaking your head all day.
Yeah.
Anything less of...
I agree. I agree with pretty much everything you said, man.
Yeah, and I'm not excusing myself. I know those situations. It's just more so it's like, at what point do we start thinking differently and say there are programs that we probably can look into to help in that situation? But the default answer, and not for everybody, I'm not going to say, it's just like, well, put it in your kid's name versus, hey, there's programs, there's things, behavioral things that you can learn. A lot of times they'll let you create payment plans and things for a lot of these bills and companies. If you're proactive and if you're showing good faith, it's just, I'm gonna put it in my baby name. And so at what point do we say, if we just eliminate that option, would we find another way?
Yeah. But a lot of those programs, they, like you say, they're for payment plans and things like that. That doesn't let you turn the power on. So that's the other part. A lot of times they won't let you turn the power on if you already got a charge off on your name and you went through the payment plan and all that, and you still owe them $400, and you ain't got $400 as a deposit to turn it on. That's where a lot of those folks have to go. So it's a different conversation, man.
Okay. Who got one for us?
I kind of had a question at the beginning, so if you got one, Razi, you can go ahead.
Yeah,
I think mine would take time.
Okay, all right, yeah. I had two, but one of them kind of goes along with yours, so I'm gonna jump with that one. I'm gonna use that one. So there is. Let me see where it happened at. Hold on. It didn't say where, but basically, a father kicked his 14-year-old daughter out of the house after she got pregnant for a second time. So, and she had just graduated 8th grade, pregnant for the second time. He kicked her out of the house. So, to your point, right? They can make these decisions about abortion. They're having sex. They're doing their thing. And want to ask you guys, there's social media, right? Outrage. There's all this conversations about it or whatever. So I want to ask you guys, your daughter got pregnant. You bit the bullet. Baby, I love you. I'm here for it. We're going to help you out, yada, yada, yada. And then she goes and gets pregnant again.
Did she have both babies?
She had the first one and she's pregnant with the second one. And I assume she's going to keep it.
I'm just like, she on that abortion train, but like she got a baby at 14 and now she pregnant again.
Did it mention anything about the father putting her on birth control after the first baby?
No, it was like, just a headline or whatever. And then people commenting under it. So I didn't see the whole story. I can maybe pull it up though, because it was on Worldstar Hip Hop.
And what's the question? Like, is he wrong?
What would you guys do? I mean, is he wrong? What would you do if your 14-year-old daughter got pregnant again? And let's make some assumptions, right? Let's be smart about this. Let's make some assumptions. My 13-year-old daughter got pregnant, had a baby. I probably am having that conversation about birth control. You need to wrap it up, yada, yada, yada. And it just happened. Stop having sex, right? Abstain, yada, yada, yada.
Wow.
But it still happened.
I don't know if we have enough time to discuss this fully. So I'm going to try and keep my answer as short as I possibly can. But let's just say that I would have quite a few questions for the father first. Like, how much supervision is this girl getting and things like that. But nevertheless, she got pregnant the first time. So my next question to him would be, okay, why didn't we look at some type of birth control? It's happened once. Why not? We don't want it to happen again, obviously. Let's get her on some birth control. And let's maybe possibly, I don't know his situation. He may be working 2 jobs and he's not able to be around and supervise her as much as other parents are. So it's a whole lot of things that I would want to ask him. But bottom line, I wouldn't kick her out. I think once you, especially 14 years old with 2 kids, well, about to be 2 kids, when you do that, you are essentially saying that you give up on your daughter and whatever happens. Because unless there's some fine print in the story where he set her up in a living situation and he's going to take care of X, Y, and Z. You pretty much are saying, hey, whatever happened, man. I told you not to get pregnant again. You got pregnant again. So peace out. Holla at you later. And that's not the route I'm going to go. But I think I would find some different solutions. And I feel like I would have prevented this second one, but
I agree with you in theory. But I think we automatically we're blaming the father.
No, we're asking questions to see.
We ask
because you are responsible for your child. So what happens with them? The questions have to start with you. It's not necessarily going to be your fault, but the questions have to start with you.
Shame on you, me.
I know.
Can't be cool. Can't be cool. Good.
Don't be like Bush. Don't be
But no. I'm just gonna go out on a limb. Like, since we're making assumptions, I'm just saying they're in a 2-parent household, right? The father made a decision to do this. Birth control. I mean, we all knew people who were on birth control and still got pregnant because they weren't on birth control, right? Like, kids. I hear that some of you guys were having sex in high school and there was supervision, but you still find ways to have sex. It's like, these are like, we are somehow we're painting a perfect picture. If she's getting pregnant at 12, 13 to be 14 to be pregnant again,
which is middle school, by the way.
Yeah, to be pregnant again, like, is she skipping school? Is she sneaking on a bus? It's like, it doesn't take long, right? Like, kids are having sex in the bathroom. Talk to these teachers. Kids are having sex in the bathroom at school.
Yeah, we had a situation like that in our middle school.
So these are real situations. So it's like, she got pregnant the first time. She was young. She might have known any better. This is how you got pregnant. She got taken advantage. Whatever that is. By a second time, birth control, all these things, like whatever it is. But you have to take birth control. You have to do all these things. Can you make her do this? Maybe the mother's around and the mother encouraged her for birth control. Like, we don't know all the situation. I think I've seen a situation where it was something similar where a father had to make an unpopular decision to say, I've done everything I can. I've done everything I possibly can. However, I have more kids and I'm putting so much energy into you that is jeopardizing the other kids. It's sending a bad message to the other kids. Or she has a 12-year-old sister who's now thinking, oh, I want to be mom. I want to have a baby. She loves being an aunt. Like, are there situations where you're like, you know what? I don't assume this dad's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to give up on it. I'm going to give any parent the benefit of doubt that they really like, I got to do this. Like, there's something going on where I have to make a decision because at the end of the day, this is going to affect more than just her. I've seen it firsthand where similar situations, somebody's like, they are worried about everybody else after her. After her. I've seen it in another situation when it's like, this kid is so, I hate we use this word, but toxic in this house that it's messing up the energy with everybody else, the wife, the kids, everybody else in this house because of what because at this point, I'm gonna go out on a limb, is you can't tell her shit.
Right.
She's gonna do what she wants to do. Right? There's a reason she has 2 kids at 14 because she's going to do what she wants to do. And I can't have anybody who's going to do that in my house. A real man's going to do this. A real father. I get it, but a real father has other kids. I have to be a father to all my kids. I have to be a leader in my household to all my family. And I'm not saying it's a right decision, but if he made that decision, maybe it was more to the story. I don't know. It might be like that same, like, hey, you get in trouble, I'm kicking you out of my house. You ain't bringing no baby in my house. It could be that simple, right? It could be that, like, you ain't bringing no baby in my house. You already brought one. You ain't bringing a second one. You brought a second one. You got to go. It could be the only child. I don't know, but I think there's situations where there's unpopular things that might be the right decision.
Yeah. That's with all these social media posts, right? There's so many unknowns there.
If it's true,
right? Like that you don't know, but that's the thing that instantly popped in my head, Ferg, was as a dad, I've tried everything. You know, he's still in her life right now. He's to kick her out. So that means that there's something there, right? Like he is trying. He's there. He's saying, hey, you're in my house. But to your point, I can supervise all day long, but if at 14, she's sneaking out of the house in the middle of the night, right? Like that's what she's doing. And so I'm catching her, but I'm like, you've been gone for 3 hours. I told you not to go nowhere. What I'm going to do, put bars and lock everything up so you can't like make my house like a prison so that you can't leave type thing. Like at a certain point, there is you I hate to say you got to give up, but it's like, there's nothing else I can do. And I'm sorry, you're not going to keep bringing kids in this house. I told you, right? We got through the first one. You know, I loved you. I still love you, but you got to find something else. You got to find something else to do. And maybe, you know, it isn't I wake up today and I'm like, you got to get out of my house, pack your stuff today. It's like, by the time you had this baby, you got to have somewhere to stay. Right, like you're not bringing the baby here, so you got 4 or 5 months, 6 months to figure this out. But when you had this baby, that's it.
Where's the baby daddy's family? With all this, like, there's, you know, I hate to hear stories like this. Not just because she's pregnant, but because it's kind of what we were talking about cheating. Cheating affects everybody. This affects more than, you know, just the daughter. It affects the mother. It affects the father. It affects the other kids in the household. It affects everybody. And at what point do you say, I have to cut this off, this cancer out? Factor that out. I got to cut this out to salvage everything else, right? Sometimes you got to cut the dead weight, and it's not easy, you know? And I just, when it comes to parents, I just assume, and I could be completely wrong. They could be deadbeat family, and you know, mama got 4 kids. By the time she turned 18, and daddy got 3 other kids. I don't know. You know, this is a bunch of assumption, but it's just in a good situation where it's a 2-parent household. This kid is just, for whatever reason, super sexually active and decided to continue to have sex. I don't know if it's the same baby daddy, different boy. I don't know, you know, and it's just, I would hate to be put in that situation. And I think it's all situational. Like, I don't know. 2 kids at 14? My daughter's 9, bro. I don't want to think about that. Right. I'm crying in my heart right now for that family. You know, I'm pretty sure that dad probably feels like a failure. Like, I don't think, I can't think of one man that wants that for his daughter. You know, like, it's something about that. It's like, God dang. Man, how did I let that happen as a dad?
Yeah.
Because he's there, like Razi said, he's there. How did I let that happen as a dad? I'm about to go hug my daughter in a sec. Tell her, screw these boys. All right, fellas, let's go ahead and close it on out. Give me something good, because now you just spoiled my day.
Those answers definitely display why it's good to have 3 different people on this show, and you got my opinion, which I guess you feel like was directed at the father, and then you too. So that's what makes the show what it is, man. So I hope the listeners enjoyed that. All I got is one. I'm gonna have to say this because it's been said about men plenty of times, and we kind of discussed this several months, maybe even a year ago, with Simone Biles and her husband. But I'm gonna have to come to the conclusion that there is, and I hope it's just a small segment, but there is a segment of women that seemingly just hate men because her husband like posted a picture with him holding the medal, and you had a whole bunch of birds clucking and chirping. You ain't earned that. What are you holding it for? Like, that's his wife. He can't celebrate his wife. Like, God dang. So at this point, y'all just don't want to see women happy with a man. Like we already talked about how some of y'all are rooting for their marriage to fail. So it leads me to very few other conclusions that there's a segment that just either don't like men or just don't want to see women happy with men.
They don't know how to. I don't want to give them that, Byron. I think there's people that just don't know how to appreciate
love
people or be happy.
Happy?
Like
yeah.
I think there's like we've normalized this fight.
Yeah.
Like
so they just waiting for the other shoe to drop at all times?
Yeah. Everything every time a girl, see, that's why you don't. Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. Like, nigga, like.
Yeah, I guess. There's a documentary on Netflix entitled Daughters. I think, so I don't want to say a lot of you'll be able to relate because it deals with, there's a program in Virginia that made its way to DC where they allow imprisoned fathers, they go through a 10-week program, and if they go through everything, they allow their daughters to come and they have a prom type dance at the prison. The fathers are able to dress up in a suit, and the girls they come dressed up, they take pictures, they have a dance, sit down at a table, have food, and it really gives these men a reason to want to do better when they get out. And if you look at the national recidivism rate versus the men that go through this program, 95% of the men that go through this program don't go back to jail. So we need more programs.
Dope. That's dope.
Yeah, we need more programs like this. But check out that documentary. Somebody, I didn't find out who it was, but somebody was chopping onions when I watched the documentary. So hopefully nobody chops onions if you guys decide to watch it. But please check it out, man. It's a very good documentary.
Did you watch it with the family or you watched it by yourself?
I watched it like 1.5 times. I watched it by myself, and then when I got home, it was certain parts I wanted to show Tabitha, and I played like half of it with her, just showing her key parts that I enjoy. But it expands out to like a good 4 years. Like there's the initial, when they do the dance, and then they kind of give you an update 4 years later, and then they give you the final update of the final sentence of each brother that's in prison and how their relationship
That's
is.
super dope.
Yeah, so please check that out. And last but not least, man, as this episode drops on Monday, I'm very interested in Crystal Kaiser and her case. Crystal Kaiser, since the age of, we've been hung up on this age 14 so much. I think it was age 14, maybe it was 16, but she wound up getting pimped out by a man, and she wound up killing her pimp.
Yep.
She cited rape. His family feels like it was premeditated, judging off some of the messages she sent on Facebook and text. But whatever the case may be, her sentencing is this Monday. She's hoping that she'll get time served, but she could get up to 30 years. And so it's very divided on what she should get, because obviously there are people that are like, hey, she's a minor, she was being raped. He was raping other minors at the time. And because there's no consensual sex with an adult and a minor. Just want to put that out there. So it doesn't matter if she said, yeah, it's okay, you can bust it wide open. If she ain't 18 and you in your 30s, it's rape, fam. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see what happens with this. And and he actually was arrested at one time, and they let him out and nothing happened. And so the mom is extra upset because she's like, he could still be alive, and my daughter could not be in this situation. She originally did this to make money because she wanted to be able to buy her own things, and she got caught up in a bad situation. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with
It's so scary out in this world, man.
And that's the scary part about the dad sending the 14-year-old with the 2 kids out, right? Like, I got to figure out a way to make money. It's the easiest way to make money. Or not the easiest way, because they say it ain't easy. That's a hard life. So, but it's the fastest way to make money.
It's scary out here. Mm.
So,
what you got, Razi?
Just 2 things, man. First off, for the folks here in Birmingham, we have an anime rave that's coming. So if you like to cosplay, you like anime and you like dancing with loud music, come on down to the BJCC. They're going to have the anime rave on October 11th. So check that out if you want to get into that, if you're in the surrounding areas. And then I just want to send up my heart, thoughts, prayers, and everything to the Hollis family. Fran Hollis, we lost her over the weekend. And so, Leah, my lady, she's down there with the family and everything. And so just want to give our thoughts and prayers and make sure everybody knows. And come to find out, we just made the connection, right, Ferg? Like that's part of Ferg's family as well. So, condolences, man, to you, to the family. Tim Hollis is, he went to LaFleur with us. So, it hits close with that one. So just want to, give our condolences.
Yeah, I was going to kind of close with that. So thank you for bringing that up. My heart goes out to the family. She fought her battle with cancer and her time is up. And, as I always say, cancer. But tough loss. She was still pretty young. So, I mentioned at the top of the show with people going back to school, we talked about kids a lot. So just keep your kids safe. Just make sure they're in the right mindset and stuff like that. The best thing about the summer for me always is I don't worry about school shootings and things like that. It's another year. I hope the U.S. proves me wrong and we're going to make it through this year without any stupid things happening at schools and stuff like that. But people, make sure your kids in the right mindset. We at the Houston Lamplighters, we do a temperature check every Tuesday with our boys just to make sure that it's like a mental health checkup. So I advise you guys to incorporate something like that into your household at least once a week. Have a temperature check with your kids. Make sure they're okay mentally. Make sure that, and when I lead it, I just make it, I make it very simple on a scale of 1 to 10. How's your week going? How are you feeling? Whatever it is, what is it going to take you to get 1 point better? If it's a 5, what does it take to get you a 6? Right? Like, what is it going to take you to feel a little bit better? And then I pay attention if it's multiple weeks in a row, like you're at a 4, you're at a 3. We need to have a serious talk, right? Sometimes you're just in a bad, if I ask you 1 week, you might be at it's about a 4. But every week, if it's a 4 or 3, then we need to have a talk. And so I'm not telling you that's the answer, but go out there and make sure, take mental health seriously. I'm not saying everybody needs to go to therapy or anything like that, but just take it seriously. Check in with your kids, check in with yourself. If you got to do that with your loved ones or your spouse, try something like that. So that's my Ferg advice for the day. So with that being said, 3 brothers in no sense, 6 Rules of Podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.